What's up, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of the In the Ring Show with your host, Devious Damien. I'm flying solo for this Impact review, so let's get started. First, we get a video package of the Rude vs. Sting feud. Rude vows to beat Sting and take him out at Victory Road. So, after that, we get the James Storm promo, where he's talking about, he's been waiting for a title match and wanting revenge. And he talks about how there's too many wanters, givers, and takers in the world. So he says that he's going to give Bobby Roode the biggest ass whooping he's ever had. He wants the world title. He's going to take the world title. And then he's going to do all this at Lockdown. Out comes Bully Ray. Basically kind of reminds him that he's the one who kicked the steel chair into James Storm's head, and that he gave James Storm a concussion. James Storm says, yeah, well, I, knocked you out with the last call super kick. So then James Storm says, enough talking, let's fight. Bully Ray keeps saying, you want to fight, you want to fight, and James Storm kind of mocks him. And instead of actually fighting him, Bully Ray gets Gunner to come out. There's a little brawl there. Nobody really gets the clear upper hand. Bully Ray does land a cheap shot on James Storm while he's being held back. And then after, we pretty much go to a commercial break. So then we get the backstage segment with Gail Kim and Goat Face Madison Rayne. Yes, I will freely admit that little bit I just did there. I stole it. Yeah, I stole that from the Schleg Daddy. I'll fully admit that. But hey, I stole it from him because I think it's funny and it's true. So we get those two arguing over whose fault it is that they lost the Knockouts tag titles, and so they end up approaching Sting. Sting basically says, something to the effect of, you know what I'm dealing with right now? I ain't got time for this. He books them individually in the matches. He books Gail versus Mickey for later in the night. And for right after the break, he books Velvet versus Madison Rayne.
Goatface.
Yeah, Goatface. I'm not going to do the noise again. You get the idea. So, Goatface wins over Velvet Sky. And what would have been the best part of the match didn't even happen. Velvet did not open the cage door and let the pigeons loose. That would have been the best part of the match, quite frankly, if she had done it.
It was Goatface's fault.
Yeah, it was Goatface's fault. Goatface wins by pulling Velvet's tights. Yeah, so, and then, it was just a stupid match. I really didn't even care.
Known for cheating.
Yeah. So, then we get the segment with Morgan and Crimson. They're still hinting at a little bit of dissension here. And it's almost like they're playing towards Crimson possibly turning heel, which is not the direction I thought they would go. I thought they would actually turn Morgan heel, but it seems like they're leaning more towards Crimson.
Especially since Morgan was helping him during the match and cheering him on.
Well, I'm getting to that point.
All right.
But then after that, they were talking about the upcoming match that was going to be next. Crimson versus Samoa Joe. And as you heard my broadcast partner, Devastating Deb, just say, and if you're wondering why we hear her, why isn't she there? Well, she's feeling a little under the weather. She doesn't feel like being seen on camera. She'll just put in her 2 cents off camera.
That's an excuse that works for me.
So as she stated, yeah, you had Morgan cheering on Crimson during the match, kind of helping him out at points, and you kind of got the feeling that it wasn't just Crimson taking a heel turn. Like Morgan was kind of doing some heelish things in there too, like distracting the ref, hanging Samoa Joe up on the top rope, allowing Crimson to spear him and get the pin. So you kind of get the feeling that they're actually kind of turning Morgan and Crimson heel. Now, I'm confused. First, they're supposed to be, they look like they're going to make a feud. Now it looks like you're turning them into a heel tag team. I'm not sure what you're doing, TNA. Make up your fucking mind, will you please?
One thing I do know is save the Tatas.
Yeah, Magnus did come out wearing a Save the Tatas shirt, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, that was actually quite comedic. I thought it was great. So, after that, we get an Austin Aries promo talking about how it's a good night to be great, but it's an even better night for breaking records. So, and the record he's speaking of breaking is that he's thus far been the longest reigning X Division champion there is. So, after he plays a little music video as a tribute to himself, and then Zima Ion comes out and says that, you know, he won last week, he embarrassed him in Austin. Aries says, well, you know, you beat me at my own game. Zima's like, no, I beat you at my own game. And says that if you were, tells Aries, if you were smart, you'd hand over the X Division title right now, because if you don't, you could end up like Jesse Sorensen. Which, okay, you know, I get that they're trying to push Zima Ion as a heel, but do they really need to go there, you know, with him constantly talking about injuring Jesse Sorensen? You know, it's... I know he didn't do it on purpose, but the way they're trying to make it sound like he did is just, you know, this guy could get legit heat from people. When I say legit, I don't mean like he's getting booed as a heel. I mean like there are some guys who could legit hate him and like want to jump him for doing this to Jesse Sorensen. I mean, there are some fans out there who do get like that. That's the way it is. And TNA could be asking for trouble with, you know, them trying to, you know, get Zima Ion to keep pursuing that angle. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to the Zima Ion Austin Aries match at Victory Road. It's one of the few matches I'm actually kind of looking forward to. And so we get Abyss continuing to look for himself. And for those of you who haven't been watching Impact and are watching my review right now, if you're confused what I'm talking about, Abyss is unmasked, got his hair all done up, and he's dressed up kind of neatly. And he's claiming to be Joseph Parks, Abyss's brother. But if you really listen to his voice, and if you take a good look at him, you can tell it's Abyss just without the mask and without all the clothes that he normally wears. So he's proceeding to ask Gunner about where Abyss is. Gunner says he knows nothing. He's in a hurry. He's got to, you know, prepare for his match. So then we get the whole segment with ODB and Eric Young. They're planning their wedding. They're trying to figure out where to have it. So on and so forth. They mentioned a few places.
Like the VFW.
Yeah, the VFW. They mentioned a bowling alley. They mentioned...
something about disco.
Yeah, something about disco or something. I don't know. Then they finally say, hey, I got an idea. You know, let's get married in the ring on Impact. And I'm like, oh boy.
Could have seen that coming a mile away.
So now I'm just waiting to see what kind of clusterfuck this thing turns into.
After all that shit they did with Karen and Jeff and then Kurt Angle and everything, you knew it was coming.
No, don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started. So then we get Kurt Angle issuing his little 5-minute challenge to Garrett Bischoff. God, can I get 1 week of Impact without Garrett Bischoff? Christ. You know, I guess maybe I wouldn't mind Garrett Bischoff so much if he wasn't getting spots on.
He started at the bottom.
Yeah, if he was starting at the bottom and working his way up to these spots, I might have a little bit more respect for the guy. I might not want to shit on him so badly. But when he's basically started, you know, on Impact in these high-profile programs, and he's continuing to get them, and let's face it, he's only getting them because he's Eric Bischoff's son, and Eric Bischoff is a high-ranking guy in the company right now.
But they did actually use him as a pansy this time.
Yeah, oh yeah, he did get used as a pansy in the 5-minute challenge, which I guess technically speaking, Garrett won since he did last the 5 minutes, so I guess technically speaking that means he won, I think. I'm a little confused about that, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Actually, before that though, there was Gail Kim versus Mickie James, and for my viewers, I apologize for getting ahead of myself. I'll return back to the Angle and Bischoff thing here in a minute. So, this match between Gail Kim and Mickie James was okay. Gail wins here. I'm not really surprised that the champion and number one contender both won their matches tonight. You got to make them both look strong going into the pay-per-view. You know, you got to make them look like they could. Either one could actually win the match. So, then we get the return of Mr. Anderson in an actual match against Christopher Daniels. And then they announced that it's going to be Anderson and Styles against Kazarian and Daniels at Victory Road. Anderson wins with the mic check here. Has a little scuffle with Kazarian, and out comes AJ, and there's a little scuffle there, and ends with that. So then we get to what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. Angle versus Garrett Bischoff in the 5-minute challenge. So as I said, it was okay, I guess. It served its purpose. Angle dominated most of the match. Then with about 30 seconds to go, Kurt Angle gets overzealous. Garrett kind of throws him out of the ring. Angle tries to come in with like the last 10 seconds left to go. Tries to put him away. Garrett counters like a splash or elbow in the corner or something. Boots him in the face. Survives the 5 minutes, which, like I said, I think that means Garrett won the match. I don't know. I'm confused. So then anyway, afterwards, Angle continues to attack Bischoff. He punches out the referee, slaps the ankle lock on Garrett Bischoff. Out comes Jeff Hardy to make the save. Angle releases the ankle lock and flees the ring. Which, you could tell that 5-minute challenge was nothing but a farce. Nothing more than just a way to set up more stuff between Kurt Angle and Jeff Hardy for Victory Road. Personally, I think they could have set this up without using Garrett Bischoff. But it is what it is. They did it the way they did it. So, afterwards, we get a segment with Robbie E and Robbie T. Robbie E says he's having the Robbie E Invitational Part 2 at Victory Road, which is an open challenge for anybody to win the television title. So I wonder who's going to actually wrestle Robbie E at Victory Road for the television title. It'd be kind of interesting to see who's actually going to do it. I don't know if TNA is actually going to have a match where Robbie E actually loses the television title, but anyway, who knows. So then we get Gunner versus James Storm in an okay match here. Storm wins, hitting Gunner with the last call super kick. And then they tease a little fight between James Storm and Bully Ray. It doesn't happen. Bully Ray says, "Oh, you're going to wait till Victory Road. I'll take you out at Victory Road. You won't make it to Lockdown." Same stuff he's been saying the past few weeks. So then we get the contract signing between Bobby Roode and Sting for Victory Road. So after they sign the contracts, you have Bobby Roode running down on the mic saying that Sting's jealous of him, how, he's better than Sting now, kind of taking a few jabs at Sting for his age, saying he can't move around the way he used to, and stuff like that, basically making fun of Sting for kind of being older than him. And then, after taking a lot of jabs at Sting, Roode finally says, "Oh, I see, I finally got you speechless. Sting, is at a loss for words." And Sting basically said, he does say nothing. He just rolls the table down, puts on face paint. Bobby Roode's like, "The face paint don't scare me." Sting basically just beats the crap out of Bobby Roode. Basically lets his actions do the talking for him. And he clears the ring of Roode. Roode kind of scurries up the ramp while Sting throws the chair at him. And that's how Impact goes off the air tonight.
Lots of segments, not enough wrestling.
Yeah, but most of the segments served the purpose I think they were trying to serve, which was, promoting Victory Road, hyping up the matches for it. Even though that's not really even though I feel like Victory Road for them, they're treating it like a filler pay-per-view. You can tell they're building more towards Lockdown. Victory Road is sort of like their filler. But anyway, my grade for tonight's Impact, C-. Only because I didn't feel that you needed the Angle and Garrett Bischoff match. The segment with ODB and Eric Young, although kind of entertaining, was kind of useless. Abyss looking for himself, more useless. I don't get this storyline. I wish they would just quit it. So, I was relatively satisfied with tonight's show. It wasn't the best, but it was certainly not the worst. Like I said, C-. Let me know what your thoughts on down below are. Like, subscribe up above. And before I sign off, I'd like to give a shout out to a couple YouTubers. Off the Rope Show, Mr. Route, the British Fist, and Tobias Boone backwards. Those 4 channels, check them out. Oh, actually, also check out NJ17 and Mr. Parkin. All those channels are really good channels to watch also. For the In the Ring show, this is Devious Damien signing out. Good night, everybody.